There's much more to a tooth than just the parts you can see in a smile. That's because our gums hide everything except the top of the tooth, an area called the crown. Because this part of the tooth grinds up food, it's covered with the hardest material in the body. The thin layer of tooth enamel is the reason our teeth are hard, white and shiny. Underneath the enamel, down into the roots, the tooth is made up of pale yellow dentine. Although it's slightly softer than enamel, it's still harder than bone. The middle of every tooth is hollow to make room for blood vessels needed to keep the tooth alive. This collection of soft tissue is called the pulp, and also contains the nerves that warn us when something is wrong with the tooth. The nerves and blood vessels enter the tooth through a hole at the very end of the root and travel up through the pulp canal to fill up the space in the crown called the pulp chamber. Every tooth sits in a socket in the jawbone and is held in place by a tiny elastic strand called the periodontal ligament. This stretchy connection means each tooth can move a little when you chew. Above the jawbone, the tooth is wrapped in a firm cuff of gum tissue, or gingiva, as it's sometimes called. The gum attaches to the neck of the tooth where the enamel finishes, hiding the complex structure below. And that's why there's so much more to a tooth than meets the eye.
The Chinese invented the first toothbrush around 1600, but it wasn't until about 1780 in England that it became a mass-produced item. Its bristles came from the necks and shoulders of pigs. Getting those teeth clean must have been a real swine. These toothbrushes should make you want to flash your pearly whites in appreciation, if you consider that thousands of years ago people used twigs to clean their teeth. Today's toothbrushes begin as little plastic pellets. A vacuum sucks them up into an injection mold machine. The machine melts the pellets into a kind of plastic dough, then injects it into a stainless steel mold, forming 10 toothbrush handles at once. The head of each handle has up to 56 holes for bristles. This machine generates 10 handles every 35 seconds. That works out at 27,000 handles in 24 hours. Now, they melt coloured rubber pellets. They pipe the liquid rubber into the mould with the white toothbrush handles, then press the rubber onto the handles to form a grip. So now, you have a toothbrush you can really hang on to. No dropping this one in the sink. They use this semi-clear plastic to produce another type of grip, one that's softer and more pliable. These nylon fibres will form the bristles. A robotic arm pats them down so they sit evenly. Then, faster than you can blink an eye, the machine feeds the bristles into the holes in the head of the toothbrush handle. This machine works at a blurring speed, filling 900 holes per minute. And it operates with incredible precision. Here's the bristle selection process in slow motion. The machine selects between 22 and 24 bristles for each hole in the brush. With 56 holes per toothbrush, that adds up to over 1,300 bristles for each brush. This fully automated system works faster than any human ever could. And here's another advantage. A human hand rarely has to touch the bristles, and so the process is incredibly hygienic. Wondering what holds the bristles in place? Wire. The machine bends the fibres in half, anchoring them to the brush with wire in the middle. Now it's time for a brush cut. These blades trim the bristles to the same length. Another set of blades sculpts different types of edges, depending on the model in production. These may look like spinning tops, but they're rotating discs coated with diamond dust, a mild abrasive. They sand the edges of the bristles to produce a particular finish. For instance, the bristles can be straight or zigzagged. Different finishes have different tooth cleaning effects. You may have noticed that the bristles vary in colour. This is purely aesthetic, a nifty colour combination to make the toothbrush look smarter. And of course, the machine knows exactly which colour goes where. So you end up with a two-tone brush like this one. Every so often, the factory pulls a toothbrush off the assembly line for a spot check. A robotic arm tugs at the bristles to make sure they're secure enough. And if the brush passes the test, the rest of the production run is cleared for sale. A robotic system packages the brushes and they come right off the line, ready for shipping. Ensuring that cheesy grin will always dazzle and delight.